down to 12th in the Premier League table, could be 13th in a couple of hours' time. Brentford deserved that on the basis of the second half, didn't they? Where's the consistency gone from Newcastle United? And how on earth does Eddie Howe get it back? We want your thoughts, feelings, opinions after another defeat. 0800 234 6565 is the number to call. 0800 234 6565 to speak to Ando. 08000 321 333 is the number to send your WhatsApp messages to. 81333 is the number to send your text messages to. No non-league football today means even more chance for you to come on and chat to John Anderson. We are here until 6 o'clock.
Total Sport North East.
On the station with Newcastle and Sunderland commentary exclusively live.
BBC Radio Newcastle.
It's nearly
Christmas!
So pop over to BBC iPlayer for that festive feeling.
Welcome, one and all.
Let's get this party started.
Now you're talking. Right, time for the Christmas quiz.
However you celebrate.
This sprout should have been blanched 20 minutes ago. Merry Christmas, one and all. Merry Christmas, Bryn.
We're more than ready for Christmas.
Take a moment to savour the magic of Christmas.
Okay, I've done that now.
Okay.
Watch Christmas comedy on BBC iPlayer.
Total Sport North East.
BBC Radio Newcastle.
That scoreline again, Brentford 4, Newcastle United 2. That phone number again to come on and chat about it, 0800 234 6565. Plenty of time for you to do that tonight. Elsewhere in the Premier League today, Everton-Liverpool, the Merseyside derby, due to be the last one at Goodison Park, postponed on safety grounds because of the weather earlier, so that didn't go ahead. What did go ahead, two other 3 o'clock games. Aston Villa beating Southampton by 1-0. John Duran in the opening 25 minutes of that one, the only goal of the game. Crystal Palace 2, Manchester City 2. Daniel Munoz gave Crystal Palace the lead after 4 minutes. Erling Haaland equalised. It was one apiece at half time. Maxence Lacroix, the centre half, getting Crystal Palace's second. Then Rico Lewis equalised for Manchester City and was then given 2 yellow cards, so he was sent off with 5 minutes to go. But Manchester City, I was going to say hold on, it's probably not how they view it, but Crystal Palace 2, Manchester City 2 at the final score. Manchester United are at home to Nottingham Forest at 5:30.
Total Sport North East.
Call free 0800 234 6565.
BBC Radio Newcastle.
In the Championship, there were 3 early games, including Sunderland's 2-1 win over Stoke City. Tommy Watson with his first 2 goals for the club. Leeds United are top. They beat Derby 2-0. Joe Rodon and Max Weber at the end of the first half. And Sheffield Wednesday drew 1-1 with Preston North End. Michael Smith with Sheffield Wednesday's equaliser. In the 3 o'clock games, Cardiff against Watford was postponed because of the weather. A Sean McLaughlin own goal was the difference as Blackburn won 1-0 at Hull City. Coventry won 1-0 away from home as well at the Den against Millwall from Mason Clark in the middle of the second half. Plymouth against Oxford was postponed, but Portsmouth beat Bristol City 3-0. Colby Bishop and Josh Murphy with the first 2, Callum Lang with the third. Queen's Park Rangers 3, Norwich City 0. Jimmy Dunn, formerly of Sunderland, with the first goal. And then Ryan Colley scoring in the 49th minute and then the 49th minute. He scored in the 4th minute of first half injury time and then in the 4th minute of the second half. Anyway, Queen's Park Rangers 3, Norwich City 0. And Luton 1, Swansea City 1. Elijah Adebayo for Luton in the first half. Matt Grimes with Swansea's equaliser.
Total Sport North East.
On the station with Newcastle and Sunderland commentary exclusively live.
BBC Radio Newcastle.
2 early games in League One as well. Lincoln 0, Charlton 0, but Leyton Orient won 2-0 at Wigan Athletic. Jaden Sweeney at the end of the first half. Dialang Jayasimi at the end of the second. Jay Stansfield scored twice as Birmingham City won 2-1 away at 10-man Barnsley. Blackpool, Rotherham and Bristol Rovers Bolton were both postponed. Elliot Lee, son of former Newcastle midfielder Rob Lee, scored Wrexham's goal as they won 1-0 at Burton Albion. Cambridge United 4, Shrewsbury 1 though. 2 for Sam Lavery, 1 for Dan Unlundulu and 1 for Elias Kachunga. A John Marquis penalty for Shrewsbury. Not enough, they were already 4-0 down at that point. Crawley against Stevenage was postponed. Huddersfield won 2-1 at Mansfield. That was the half-time and the full-time score. Stockport scored twice in the second half to beat Exeter City 2-0. The first was an own goal, the second was a Louis Barry penalty. And the final game in League One was Wycombe 1, Reading 1.
Total Sport North East
The Newcastle and Sunderland AFC podcast.
on BBC Sounds.
BBC Radio Newcastle.
2 early games in League 2 as well. Finished Crewe 1, Bradford 1. Alex Pattison scored Bradford's equaliser and was then sent off 2 minutes later, but they held on. So Crewe 1, Bradford 1. Walsall, thanks to Jamil Matt, won 1-0 away at Port Vale. Bromley, who will visit St James's Park in January in the FA Cup, won 2-1 away at Accrington Stanley today. Barrow against MK Dons was postponed. Chesterfield beat Tranmere 3-0. Doncaster Rovers 2, Cheltenham Town 2. There was an own goal from Owen Bailey, the former Newcastle player, and then one of Doncaster's goals at the right end was scored by Luke Molyneux, formerly of Sunderland. Gillingham 1, Salford City 0. AFC Wimbledon comfortable 3-0 winners away at Harrogate. Grimsby also comfortable winners away at Morecambe. Justin Obikwe with 2 in the first half. Danny Rose at the very end. Newport County against Carlisle was postponed. So too was Notts County against Colchester United, and there was a Harry Smith hat-trick as Swindon beat Fleetwood 3-1.
Total Sport North East.
Call free 0800 234 6565.
BBC Radio Newcastle.
And as much as I would like to run through several non-league scores and results today, there are none. Every single game involving North East teams from Gateshead right the way down to the bottom of Northern League Division 2 called off today. Paul Dixon was going round the region trying to find one that was on. He went from Dunstan to Hebburn to Gateshead, and none of them were going ahead in the end, all brought to premature afternoons by the weather. It means that we are here right the way through with this Newcastle United phone-in all the way through until 6 o'clock. Now, it might be nicer, John Anderson, if we had 53 and a half minutes to talk about a win rather than a defeat.
It'd be lovely. We were sat inside talking about it.
Can you stand up? Can you kind of jump up and down? I don't know what the Brentford press box is like.
You can't feel me.
Warm.
You can't feel anything.
Well, in that case, it's not cold. If you can't feel them, and they're not cold.
Believe me, I'm freezing.
Yeah, no, I can imagine you are. I am genuinely sympathetic from this lovely, warm, cozy studio. I am indeed. The game was entertaining, but sort of for the wrong reasons. As a basic question to start with, Brentford deserved that ultimately, yes?
Yeah. I thought we were the better side in the first half. Thought we could add more. They probably could have had 1 or 2 more as well. I mean, the game was so open, it was like jumpers and playgrounds first half. Second half, we never got going at all. We were never really in the game second half. Spoke beforehand about not too sure what you get these days from Newcastle. You know, it's that inconsistency. 1 week outstanding, Wednesday night absolutely brilliant, and then you turn up and you get a performance like we have done again today. It's, if you could put your finger on it, we'd probably be millionaires, Colin. But look at it, it's just that inconsistency. It's that level of performance. You just don't know what you're getting from week to week now. You're turning up. At one time, you always knew what you were going to get. The level of performance was going to be there. That intensity was going to be there. That intensity wasn't there today, I didn't think. The energy levels weren't there, I didn't think. Now, if that's down to Wednesday night and what we had to put into the game, you accept that. You think... because it was a really tough game on Wednesday. There was an awful lot of effort and energy and everything else put into it. But in the end, we were well beaten today.
Yeah, and you and Simon disagreed slightly on whether the attitude was quite right, or whether what's the right word to describe it? Is that the wrong word?
No, I didn't mean the attitude as in players' attitude having to go. I would never level that at this group of players. I always think that the attitude of the players is always there. Look, they looked a little bit leggy today. As I say, Wednesday night may well have taken a lot out of them. He made the substitutions. He brought the big hitters on. He brought Tonali on. He brought Gordon on. And it didn't make a big difference. Brought Wilson on. Never really got involved in the game because we didn't have a great deal of the ball in the second half. We were really sloppy. Guimaraes keeps getting caught on the ball. Doesn't matter how well he plays, he keeps getting caught on the ball, keeps having his pocket pinched. It was just defensively. I mean, the third goal, the goalkeeper takes a free kick from halfway inside his own half. It's a straight ball. Go and head it. Share, go and head it. He turns his back on it. Falls to Collins, who puts it in the back of the net. You know, just go and head it. Never mind turning your back on it. Go and put your head on it. Straightforward, you know, basic things. But we didn't do the basics right today, and we got what we deserved.
And that's kind of the thing, because individual things like that, and Barnes giving the ball away for the third one as well, that's nothing to do with intensity or tactics or strategy or any of that.
That's got nothing to do with any of that. That's just your basics. I mean, Barnes, for the second goal, what he's thinking of, he cuts in off this left side and he plays a ball across the pitch, 25 yards out. And if you lose the ball there, you're in trouble straight away. And he gave it straight to Visa. To be fair to the boy, it's a good finish. Yeah. But he's picked it up, and everybody backs off him. Nobody closes him down again. He has time to get it out of his feet, and he bends into the top corner. But yeah, you know, just bad goals. You can't keep giving the ball away in bad areas.
And just one more before we talk to Ryan, who's a Newcastle fan, who's given us a call, and you can do the same. Lots of time for you to do it. 0800 234 6565. There's a message from Mark in South Shields who says, when will Eddie Howe grasp that 4-3-3 away from home doesn't work? The midfield gets overrun, and we were outplayed in that second half, but Howe doesn't change things.
Well, 4-3-3 away from home has worked in the last few years. So I don't think he can put it down to that.
Mark, you're more than welcome to give us a call as well and expand on that point a little bit further. The number is 0800 234 6565. Let's have a chat then to Ryan, who's first on the programme. Welcome to Total Sport, Ryan.
Hi lads, how are you doing? You alright?
Hey Ryan.
Good, thank you. What's your take on all of that then?
It's just so incredibly frustrating. Just a few things that, you know, it's just the silly mistakes every week cost us goals left, right and centre all over the pitch. I mean, you know, you talk about the week, midweek, you know, it's a tough game. We've gone up toe-to-toe with Liverpool. I thought, like, watching the game, we were probably one of the only teams that's actually outplayed them in large spells this season. And today I was just looking forward to, you know, to get on the ball, have a solid performance and hopefully come back with 3 points. But I feel like in the first half we got involved in a tennis game with possibly the worst team you could get involved in it with, in my opinion.
Yeah, look, I said in that first half it was like being at school and it was jumpers and playgrounds. You know, throw a few jumpers down and goals at each end, and you have a go and we'll have a go. It was just so open and so stretched. It was unbelievable. You know, neither side wanted to get a grip of the ball. They kept giving it away. We created chances, they created chances, and we could have been in front at half time, to be fair, right? You know, we had the better the chances in that first half, but second half we were nowhere.
What's your thoughts on the lads coming in? I mean, you know, Jacob Murphy, Harvey Barnes had a point to prove today. I know Barnes got a goal, but in the second half he just seemed to go missing a bit, like not really getting on the ball much. You know, you want him in them areas where you can hurt teams, and I just don't feel like we're getting him in them particular areas very well. And he seems to go missing. His overall game outside of his finishing isn't there at the moment.
Yeah, I think he's always had more of an impact on the game when he's come on. I think when he started games, he flitters in and out. You know, you see him and then you don't get him on the ball enough. You know, he doesn't get involved enough. Good goal that he got today. You know, plenty of room. Good finish across the keeper into the bottom corner. But, you know, it was an opportunity for him. And as I say, I think the games that he started this season, he hasn't had a big enough influence on them. But when he's come on a substitute, his influence on games has been good. Now, whether that's down to the fact that he's coming on and playing against players with tired legs or whatnot, not sure. Murphy, on the other hand, Eddie Howe likes him. You know, he knows what he's going to do for him. He runs around, he chases, he does that defensive stuff.
He did quite a lot of things very well, and I know a lot of people had a bit of criticism of him last season, but I was always sort of on the side of, I feel like the games that he came into, and obviously you could see the job he was told to do, he did very well, but I feel this season, from what I've seen of him, he hasn't showed any of that. I mean, he was very unlucky on Wednesday to hit the post on his effort, but other than that, so far, I mean, the goal on Wednesday, you know, Joe Linton ultimately gave the ball away, but that was a pass that was trying to make something happen, you know. If that pass had gone through, we were in on goal, but it's the pass initially from Jacob Murphy in midfield under no pressure on halfway that you know, it's just so frustrating, like you say every week. It's just silly mistakes that's costing goals.
Yeah, I mean, the second goal today, Barnes has given it away. The third goal.
Colour clash today, to be honest. I didn't really like the. I thought the teams were in two very similar colours, to be honest. I mean, I know that's a bit by the by, but
it's just an observation.
I wish I'd have thought of that one.
Ryan's not making that as an excuse, are you, Ryan? It's purely an observation.
No, absolutely not.
Okay. Thank you very much for your call, Ryan. Really appreciate it. Good to hear from you, and please do give us a call again soon. That number is 0800 234 6565. John has sent us a WhatsApp message. The number to do them, 08000 321 333. It says, Ando, this is getting concerning how bad our defence has become. We're conceding stupid goals, getting beaten by teams we shouldn't be. No win in 4, 10 goals conceded in those games. We're supposed to be a team going for the Champions League, but we've got no chance. Why are we so bad? That's the kind of simple question to end it on. Why are we so bad? But specifically the concession of what John describes as stupid goals.
We've gone from being a side that's hard to beat and that didn't concede many goals to a side that's very easy to get at, you know, and open up. Why, I do not know. I think it's a problem for Eddie Howe that he's going to have to sort out. You know, we've seen, even against Liverpool on Wednesday night, we conceded 3. You know, if you're having to score 3 goals week in, week out to win games, you're not going to win an awful lot of games, to be fair, Colin. You know, you've scored 2 goals away from home today. 2 goals away from home should be good enough to get you some sort of result, but we've conceded 4, and you know, when you see the goals that we've given away, they're poor goals. You know, they haven't had to work too hard to score them. That's the problem. You know, it's not as if they've stuck half a dozen passes together and really opened you up and moved you all over the place. They haven't done that. So there's work for Eddie Howe to do. You know, it's a dilemma for him.
Yeah, because I'm not comparing the two sides. I want to make that clear before I say it. But the side that's held up as kind of the entertainers, 95, 94, 95, 96 kind of team, conceded loads, but scored loads as well, and it was all great fun. But obviously, in order to finish as high as they did up the league season after season, they were winning more games than they were losing. So it is okay to play quite expansive and concede now and again. It's fine having those kind of games as long as you win them, and if you don't, it's a real problem.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, you can concede as many goals as you want, but you've got to score more than the opposition.
Yeah.
You know, and that's one thing that the entertainers did. You know, it was a little bit open house with Kevin's side, because Kevin's attitude was, well, we don't mind conceding goals because we know we've got the ability and we've got the players that can go and score more goals than you, so that's fine. I don't think Eddie Howe's got that attitude. You know, and I think he'll be worried and he'll be concerned at the amount of goals that we are conceding at this moment in time, and he's got every right to be as well. You know, I know Brentford had a decent home record coming into this game, but we spoke about it beforehand, and they were bottom half sides that they'd beaten. The only real ones that they'd beaten here were Bournemouth, and they play. Seeing that game, and they played well, but Brentford. I mean, the way he has them playing here, you know, it's throw bodies forward. Get the game stretched as much as you possibly can. and we back ourselves to score goals. And they concede an awful lot of goals as well, Brentford. You know, they're wide open defensively. They really are. But second half, we didn't. I mean, we were sat here at half time going, it's going to be loads more goals than this. There's no way in the world this is finishing 2-2. And the way they defend, and they're so open, they don't mark anybody. We'll get opportunities in the second half. But for whatever reason, we just didn't turn up in that second half. You know, we didn't cause them any problems whatsoever.
Yeah, because as you said, they score lots of goals. Literally got the table in front of me. Brentford have now scored the joint highest number of goals in the Premier League this season. They've scored 31. Now, they've played a game more than quite a few other teams, but they've also conceded 28, which is more than anybody outside the bottom four. So, but did they look in control? Did they look like a kind of team that goes, well, we might concede at the back, but we know we'll score more than that? Or were they a bit chaotic as well?
Not in the first half. They were all over the place in the first half. You know, we could have been ahead in the first half. The way they defended, they didn't pick people up. They left people alone inside the penalty area. Second half, defending they had to do was quite comfortable because we didn't ask enough questions. You know, we didn't get the ball in the right areas. So I just find I keep itching my head because I got here today and I was thinking after Wednesday night everybody will have got a lift, you know, great performance, went toe to toe with probably the best side in the country, but what will we get today? It's that inconsistency of performance, and that's got to be a concern to Eddie Howe now as well.
Indeed, and just again looking at that table, Brentford, by virtue of their win today, are now up to 6th, and that's how tight the middle of that table is. Again, they've got a game in hand on I think the 5 teams below them. They've played a game more than the 5 teams below them, so that will change plenty today and tomorrow. And Newcastle United could be 13th by the time everyone goes to bed tonight, because Manchester United, if they beat Nottingham Forest, will go above Newcastle as well. Going to talk to Gordon in just a moment, who's a Newcastle fan. I'll read a couple more of these messages though. A couple calling for Eddie Howe to be removed. Chris in Newcastle says no plan B, keeps making the wrong substitutions. Time for Eddie Howe to go. And Davy in Wallsend says from 4th top 2 seasons ago to this, we're going backwards, therefore Howe out. But a couple of players that have got it in the neck as well. This one doesn't have a name on it, but says Newcastle need to drop Bruno. He spends most of the time looking for free kicks, and Harvey Barnes isn't good enough. Bruno and Tonali didn't play together because Tonali didn't start the game, and we finally got to the point where most people accepted after Liverpool that Bruno and Tonali can play together. How did the midfield function today?
First half they had so much room. You know, there was acres of space in that midfield, and we didn't make the most of it. Sean Longstaff came in, he was unlucky as early as the 2nd minute. Great strike from the edge of the penalty area, smashes the crossbar. I didn't think he done badly, thought he was neat and tidy, passed it nice and simple. Joe Linton never really got involved in the game, but does what Joe Linton does, stops the opposition playing and breaks play up, but he got taken off. Guimaraes is a problem. You know, he really is, because the amount of times he gives the ball away and the amount of times he gets his pocket pinched, and people nick the ball off him. You know, you can't keep doing that at this level. And people will come up and say, oh well, since he's had the captaincy. I don't buy that. Don't buy that at all. He's an international footballer. You know, he knows he's playing for Brazil, so he knows what pressure's all about. So being the captain of Newcastle United is not going to affect him, especially with the leadership group that they've got here. You know, there's half a dozen of them who are leaders out there, who have each other's backs, and they've got a say in everything. So I don't buy the captaincy bit at all.
Keep your messages coming in. 08000 321 333 if it's a WhatsApp message, 08000 321 333, or 81333 if it's a text message, and start them all with the letters BBC. Let's have a chat then to Gordon, who's a Newcastle fan on the line. Good evening, Gordon.
Well, it's not a good evening, is it?
Well, evening.
I agree with everything, Ando, and also most of the texts. I think Bruno, it's about time Bruno was dropped and Tonali was in. Bruno, as Ando said, he keeps getting caught in the ball. He's giving bad passes away and all that. And I just think that, as people have said, the substitutions, it's like for like. He's got no plan B. And that's why I'm losing patience. I've supported Eddie Howe all the way through, but I'm losing patience now because he makes substitutes a like for like, and they make no difference. Today was absolute awful second half, and there's no excuses. They were on such a high after the Liverpool game, they couldn't carry any of that into today, and it's so frustrating for the fans. And I'm sorry, fans are losing patience now.
Yeah, look at it. It's a concern. I said it beforehand, Gordon. That the level of performances this season, the consistency level just hasn't been there. And one thing you would say about us in previous seasons has been that consistency level's been there. Yes, it might drop a notch or two, but there was always a level of consistency. Going into the game on Wednesday night, a lot of supporters I spoke that didn't give us a hope. Thought we were going to get absolutely battered. We turn up and we put a performance in, and we go toe to toe in what was an absolutely wonderful game. And everybody went away happy and delighted, and you turned up here today thinking, and I said, if we play anywhere near as well as we played on Wednesday night, we'll win here, and we'll win here comfortably. But we got nowhere near that level. Now whether Wednesday night took an awful lot more out of us than we thought, I don't know, but the level of performance today was nowhere near what we seen on Wednesday night.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I don't go along with this about did it take too much out of us on Wednesday. It should have been buzzing and high from that. And I'm sorry, there's supposed to be these fantastic athletes now, and then to go from what happened on Wednesday to tonight, just it's not acceptable. I'm sorry, they can't come up with these excuses. Oh, I'm tired, do you? No, I'm sorry.
So where did it go from here?
Well, I don't know. Do you change the manager? Because at the moment, the feeling is he hasn't got a plan B. He just goes along with what he has. He can't change things. The players he brings on don't make a difference. He brings Harvey Barnes on as a substitute. He's great. Put him on from the beginning. He's not good enough. And it's the same old players. He hasn't got any variation now, and that's the worrying thing.
Yeah. Is that the only thing that makes me think that's a slightly unfair accusation? And I'll ask you for both your opinions on this. Is that today Callum Wilson came on with 20 minutes to go, but it wasn't Isak that he came on for. So the two of them did play together for the last 20 minutes, and that was slightly different. Now, it didn't work, obviously, but it was a little bit different.
Well, they didn't really play side by side. Isak dropped deeper and played in the hole, and tried to get on tried to pick stuff up and make things happen. But I don't know how fit Wilson is, to be quite honest, Colin. I mean, the manager keeps saying at this moment in time he's only got 20-25 minutes in him. But somewhere along the line, the substitutes he makes, the majority of substitutes he makes are all usually like for like. He'll take a wide man off and put a wide man on.
But I mean, that's what most teams do. That's what most managers do.
West Ham, he made changes left, right, and centre, and just kept throwing forward players on, but with no real plan about what they were doing. It was like, we'll go on there and see if he can get us a goal. There was no such thing as, well, this is the way we're going to do it, and you go and you play here, and I want you to do this and I want you to do that. It was basically go on and see if you can get a goal. So I agree about the plan B. We don't seem to have a plan B. We play the way that we play, and if it's not working, we carry on playing the way that we play. You know, there's no change to it. There doesn't seem to be a change. So I don't know. It's getting concerning. You know, it is. It really is. The amount of goals that we're giving away is frightening.
Gordon, we're going to leave it there, but thank you very much indeed for speaking to us this evening. A reminder of that number, 0800 234 6565. We will hear from Eddie Howe before 6 o'clock as well, but it is already 5:30.
Matt Bailey at breakfast.
We're talking about when you've not quite completed something this morning. Claire in Chatton is on the phone.
So we have 3 autistic children and we took them up to Ben Nevis. They're very literal, so they decided that to climb Ben Nevis they only had to do about 100 yards, have their photo taken, and that was it. They'd done it. And then they decided that they would need to go to the gift shop and have sweatshirts to show everybody that they'd climbed Ben Nevis.
That is a brilliant way of thinking, though. You didn't specify how high we had to climb. We climbed 100 yards of it. We definitely deserve a jumper.
They get us every time.
Matt Bailey at breakfast.
Just ask your smart speaker to play BBC Radio Newcastle. Total Sport North East.
BBC Radio Newcastle.
Stormy afternoon in West London. Here come Brentford. The crossfield ball is a good one to Mbeumo, who controls it with his left foot, brings it inside, thinks about the shot into the penalty area. Now he shoots and it's into the net. And Mbeumo scored for Brentford. He was allowed space to come inside. He looked up, decided to go near post. Nick Pope was slightly wrong-footed. And Brian Mbeumo hit it well. It went into the top right-hand corner. And on 7 minutes, Brentford lead by 1-0. And Newcastle have it back now. And here's Isak. Isak to Bruno. Bruno, edge of the area. Jacob Murphy takes over. Left foot, he has a shot, curls it, and the header comes in. But is the flag up? No, it's not. It's a goal. Isak, I think, got his head to it, didn't he?
I think it's an OG.
Was it? It looked like a cross-come shot from Murphy. Isak went for it. One of the centre-halves, was it Collins, that went for it as well? Came off his head. Either way, it's at the back of the net. And Newcastle United on 11 minutes, a level, it's 1-0. Gives it away, does Harvey Barnes. And this is an opportunity now for Brentford. It's Wissa, right-footed shot. And he's done what Mbeumo did. He stuck it in the top right-hand corner. It was given away by Harvey Barnes. Johan Wissa collected the ball, took it forward, looked up, smashed it in the top right-hand corner, and Brentford lead by 2-1. Murphy for Newcastle. So they look to come forward again. His cross is blocked. Back it comes to him though. And this time there's a bit of space. Edge of the area, inside the area, shot comes in, and it's a goal for Newcastle. Harvey Barnes has made up for his error. Good work down the right-hand side. Cross came in, Barnes controlled it. He's not celebrated too much, I think, because he's thinking about his error from earlier. And Newcastle are back on level terms again, just over the half-hour mark. It's Brentford 2, Newcastle United 2.
Brentford, all the free kicks in this sort of position, just inside their own half, taken by the goalkeeper Flecken, and eventually plays it on the diagonal to the edge of the penalty area, and it's all gone all the way through. Gone all the way through, I think.
Collins has scored.
Collins, the centre-back on the left-hand side, in the penalty area, and just stroked it beyond Pope. Far too easy. Free kick from the goalkeeper, over everybody on the diagonal. Collins picks it up, and with his left foot, puts it into the bottom left-hand corner. And Brentford lead by 3-2. Here's Wissa, Mbeumo turns well into the penalty area. Schade has finished the job for Brentford. The German skipped into the box and Mbeumo played him through. Schade with his right foot struck it beyond Nick Pope. Newcastle United are surely beaten for the first time in the Premier League by Brentford. It's Brentford 4, Newcastle United 2.
Total Sport North East.
Call free 0800 234 6565.
BBC Radio Newcastle.
So that was the story of the afternoon at the G-Tech Community Stadium. Then Newcastle United beaten 4-2 by Brentford. Elsewhere in the Premier League, Aston Villa beat Southampton 1-0. Crystal Palace drew 2-2 at home to Manchester City, who had Rico Lewis sent off with 5 minutes to go. And in the 5:30 game, Nottingham Forest are already winning at Manchester United. Nikola Milinkovic after just 2 minutes, but it only kicked off 4 minutes ago. 0800 234 6565 is the number to call to have a chat with John Anderson. 0800 234 6565. Two ways to send us messages as well. Text messages come to 81333, 81333, or WhatsApp messages, send them to 08000 321 333. And if you add us as a contact, then you only have to worry about remembering that number once. 08000 321 333. In all cases, with WhatsApp messages and text messages, start them with the letters BBC and put your name on the end of them as well. Like this one, Bill in Shipcut, who sent us a WhatsApp message, says PSR or injuries can't account for our inconsistent and irritating form. Gifting goals and not getting the basics right is unforgivable. Jumpers for goalposts in the first half is not acceptable. Barnes is a good finisher but doesn't work hard enough to start, but that's just one of the problems. Let's hope the owners are more patient than the fans, says Bill. Now, John Anderson, I don't actually know, but I'm going to get you to interpret what he means by that there, Bill. Let's hope the owners are more patient than the fans. So Bill's sort of saying, don't get rid of Eddie Howe, but I appreciate that lots of fans do, or are maybe starting to think that, in Bill's opinion.
Yeah, you would think there is fans who are starting to think that way. You know, is there fans? I know I spoke to fans who asked me, do I think Eddie Howe's taken us as far as he can take them? You know, which I think is harsh. I think he's been handcuffed in the last two transfer windows because he hasn't been able to bring players in, and you get left behind because teams in and around you strengthen their squads and add to their squads, and we haven't done that. And if Colin, if you stand still and everybody else around you is going and strengthening, you are going to get left behind, and that's what's happening. But look, he knows. He's been a manager a long time. It's a business where you've got to be winning football matches, and he knows that. And if you're not winning football matches as a manager, the pressure then comes on you. You know, and he's got to sort it out some way. He's got to sort it out, and how he does it, I do not know. You know, but it's. I think the lack of, and I keep going on about this, but the lack of consistency in performances will be absolutely doing us nothing, because, you know, yet again today it just wasn't there. We don't seem to be able to. Well, we do actually be able to, because we strung three good performances together when we beat Chelsea, Arsenal, and went to Forest and played great. And then since then we've had one good performance in 4 games. You know, so concerns are there, and he will know that there's a target on his back now. You know, he needs to start winning football matches, or questions are going to be asked. Yeah,
well, I think that might lead us quite nicely to bringing in Mark, who's a Newcastle fan, on the line. Good evening, Mark.
Hi guys, hi everyone.
Hi Mark.
Yeah, because you wanted to talk about Eddie Howe as well, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. I texted earlier saying that 4-3-3 doesn't work away from home.
Same Mark.
Well, that was me.
Yeah.
And Ando sort of poo-pooed this, but if you look last season, out of 19 games, we lost 11 on the road, which wasn't great. Away from our form last season, away from home was poor, playing 4-3-3. Listening to that game today, to me it just seemed like we got overrun in the second half in midfield, and Bruno in particular wasn't playing well. And I tell you, I just wish Eddie would vary the tactics a bit. You know, maybe stiffen up that midfield at times and take one of the wingers off. I mean, Barnes wasn't doing much today, and you know, I don't know what you think about that.
So what would you do? What? So if you were going to set him up away from home, what way would you go?
I mean, I think first half it worked 4-3-3. Second half we're getting overrun. So I would maybe go 4-2-3-1 or 4-4-1-1. Take one of the wingers off, because I'd say Barnes did nothing when he was on that right hand side. I just think we don't seem to have the legs to play 3 away from home, particularly when we're playing a team that moves the ball around quickly. I mean, at home it's worked well. I agree with that, but away from home, we just seem to get overrun in that midfield. That's just my take on it.
Yeah, I understand where you're coming from to a degree, but we played 4-3-3 against Liverpool on Wednesday night, and when we didn't have the ball, both wide players dropped really deep, so it was basically 5 across midfield. Today, look at Harvey Barnes is a little bit of an enigma at the minute, because when he comes on a substitute, he has a huge impact on the game. When he starts games, I don't think he does enough. He doesn't track back enough. He doesn't help young Hall. He doesn't fill holes. Murphy on the other side, Eddie Howe likes him because he does all that. You know, there was at times in the first half today, he was basically playing right back at times because he was so deep. You know, so I don't know whether Eddie Howe will look at that. It all comes down to the players that you've got. You know, has he got the players that can go and play there? I mean, if you're going 4-2-3-1, who's your 2 holding midfield players?
That's a good question. Probably Tonali, maybe Longstaff. I don't know. I mean, I don't have the instant answer, but I just think.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Last season away from home wasn't great. I think we were in the bottom half last season away from home on results. And I just wonder whether the owners, are going to be happy 13th place when you've spent 400 million quid. I'm not sure they will be.
Yeah, look, we said earlier on, the pressure's going to come on Eddie Howe. There's no doubt about it. You know, it's a results-driven business, and he needs to start getting results. Second half today was, we never laid a glove on them second half. I mean, to be fair, we should have been in front at half time because the game was so open and so stretched. We had chances that we didn't take. But in saying that, you've still got to defend properly, and we didn't defend properly again today. You know,
no, I think we're poor.
Yeah. So there's. I haven't got the answers. You know, It's baffling to me that, you know, the inconsistency of performances. There's no level of consistency there. You know, Wednesday night we were magnificent, we were great, and you came here today and then you seen the way we played today, and it was like going to Crystal Palace last week and seeing the way we played there last week, and you think it's 2 totally different teams to what we've seen on Wednesday night, and you ask yourself the question, why is that? Why can we not go and do that?
I think at home, I think the crowd gives maybe those wingers a bit more energy and the team a bit more energy, so the press better and close down. Away from home, we don't seem to have the intensity or the energy level, and that's why we're getting overrun.
I think there's a lack of legs in midfield as well, in the middle of midfield as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Look, Guimaraes he's got good qualities, but he doesn't cover the ground. He can't get away from people, and he can't chase back people. People get away from him because he's not the quickest in the world. You know, I think Tonali's a good athlete. He's got good strength about him as well. I thought he was great on Wednesday night, but look, it was. Today is a really difficult one to put your finger on because, as I say, first half we should have been in front. Second half we got exactly what we deserved because you've got 2 centre backs who a straight free kick from a goalkeeper. You know, go and head it. If you get smacked in the face, you get smacked in the face, but don't turn your back on it. You're a centre back. That's what centre backs do. You know, so. And then all of a sudden it just falls. The boy couldn't believe his luck. He went, whoa, I'm in here all on my own when a centre back should be heading that ball clear, but that's the way it was.
Yeah, Mark, we're going to have to leave it there because we've got a couple of more calls to try and squeeze in before 6 o'clock. But thank you very much for talking to us this evening. The number to call if we do squeeze you in, 0800 234 6565. And even if we can't get you on tonight, we can certainly book your place on Monday night's Total Sport. Let's hear then from Eddie Howe, Newcastle United head coach, talking to Simon Pride, but first of all to BBC Radio 5 Live's John Southall.
Eddie, frustrating afternoon. Just give us your assessment of the performance today?
Yeah, I think the problem today was defensively we weren't strong enough. Conceded 4 really poor goals. It wasn't even individual mistakes connected with the goals, it was collective mistakes. Really disappointed with the third one, because in that moment we're in the game. We'd fought back really well twice. It's just a long direct free kick we don't handle the second ball, and that goal really did sort of sum up our afternoon, I think.
How frustrating was it, especially after midweek on Wednesday and the result you got there?
Well, it's a really difficult thing for us, because you're sort of the high of Liverpool in the performance, really. And then you come here, and there was moments of really good play from us today, especially in the first half. Really good attacking play, created a lot of chances today. But ultimately, you can see 4 goals, and the 4 goals in the manner that we did, you end up with a negative feeling and negative emotions connected to the performance, and these are things we're going to have to solve.
Yeah. No wins in 4 now. Is that becoming a concern for you?
Of course, when you don't win for a period of time, it affects confidence, affects everything. We were determined to try and end that today. We didn't. Now we have to focus on the next one.
Eddie, despite the mistakes in the first half, you probably felt that you should have been ahead at half-time, and you probably felt that you would go on and kick on and win the game.
Yeah, I think I'd share all those feelings. I thought in the first half we had the better chances. We still had chances in the second half, but we weren't as consistent with our game. Lots to reflect on in that game, and to try and put right for the next one.
You talked ahead of the game about what the Liverpool game had taken out of you, and you left out a couple of players who played in that one, who clearly had probably been feeling it the most. And was it the case that maybe some of the other players as well were still feeling that game?
Well, no doubt we looked a little bit tired in certain positions on the pitch today, but unfortunately for us, we're not in a position where we can change too many more than we did for loads of different reasons. Got players returning from fitness, and they're not 100% to use from the start, so it was what it was. Well, there's no excuses.
You talked about collective mistakes rather than individual mistakes, so how do you go about correcting that and making that better?
Well, everything comes from the training ground, everything comes from the work you do, everything comes from the mentality of the group, so that's the start point.
And still lots, from an attacking sense at least, to be encouraged by, I guess, too. Obviously you're disappointed now, but there's still lots to build on, isn't there?
Well, you go back a couple of weeks and we couldn't score a goal, so now we're scoring again, but now we're conceding, so it's just a strange moment we're in. Yeah, so I'm struggling to sort of work all that out, really, in the sense that we know we've got goals in us, we know we're a good attacking unit, and we know we can defend. We've done it historically, and we've done it this season, so we need to put it together. That's what we're looking to do.
Eddie Howe there, Newcastle's head coach, talking to Simon Pride and John Southall from BBC Radio 5 Live. And slightly frustratingly, Ando, just before we go back to the phones, that everything that we know is a problem that we've talked about, Eddie Howe mentions, but he doesn't know what the solutions are yet. Of course he doesn't, because if he did, he'd have implemented them. So he is as confused as everyone else is, which is not a great position for him to be in.
Well, I don't understand that, because today isn't the first time that we've conceded goals. He's had this problem for a while. It's not as if all of a sudden we've turned up here today and conceded goals and we scored 2, but if that had been the case, well, I don't know where that came from. But we've conceded more goals than we've scored this season now as well, Colin, which is, we were always scoring goals, we were always keeping it tight at the back. Now if he doesn't know why, after the amount of goals that we've conceded in recent games.
Well, sort of yes and no, if you like. So obviously conceded 4 today, 3 against Liverpool in midweek, but had only conceded 3 in the one game once all season before that, and even then only conceded twice in a couple of games as well. So this is new, isn't it?
Yeah, but he said that we're a team that scores goals. We've only conceded 3 goals once this season as well.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit contradictory.
Yeah, it is. This is 5 goals in 2 games is the most that Newcastle have scored in consecutive games all season as well, and they've got 1 point to show for it because they've also conceded 7. Yeah, it is. It does feel like, and obviously you and I watched Crystal Palace last weekend as well, where I didn't think they looked particularly solid defensively, but they certainly didn't look potent.
Didn't look like scoring. But never had a shot.
Yeah. So these 2 games that since then, and I know it's 3 games in a week, but they do feel different, albeit predominantly for the wrong reasons. Let's bring in Callum, who I know is a Newcastle fan who's been waiting on the line. Good evening, Callum.
Hi guys, you alright?
Hey, Callum.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Yeah, it's just ringing up basically to talk about the Isak sort of missed opportunity to take a 3-2 ahead. I thought the arrogance to take him round flecking. Don't get us wrong, as a striker, you've got to have that arrogance, but he was wanting to walk it into the back of the net, and I just thought that could have been a turning point in the game, and it was just so arrogant of him to do that when we needed that goal.
Yeah, I mean, he's gone round the keeper, and I thought, he's just going to roll it into the net. But then he's had that extra touch, which allows the keeper to get that slap on the ball, which was strange. You know, he's done everything right. He's gone round the keeper, and you think he's going to put it in the back of the net, and he has an extra touch, and all of a sudden the opportunity's gone. So, but you're right, it could well have changed the game. It could have had a totally different outlook on it, but unfortunately,
he's went from the corner flag all the way into the box, and I was half up celebrating, ready for him to just put it in the back of the net, and it just didn't come. But it was shocking. I mean, defensively today, I just think the full back four didn't really do the job. And Pope, I think in January we need to get a new keeper, because I just think the past few games, he's a good shot stopper every now and again, but unless it's put in the middle of his chest play, he cannot go for it. I don't know what you guys think about that.
To be fair, I think the first two are good strikes. You know, I think they're good goals.
100%,
I mean, he's got away with one right at the death where he comes out halfway inside his own half, and he gets caught on the ball, and I'm not too sure who it was, got back and cleared it off the line. But
Burn,
you know, but it was, I mean,
I love Eddie Howe. I think he's a tactical genius at times, but like a lot of guys say, he hasn't got that plan B, and I think we're getting found out from what we were when we're pushing for the Champions League a couple of seasons ago. But something's amiss. I think we need to clear out the players. I think Bruno hasn't got the legs. He's good in midfield. Tonali's got the legs. He's got the passing ability. But I don't know. Something needs to change. And I don't know why he dropped Tonali. I know he was sort of knackered after Liverpool, but to put Sean Longstaff in when Tonali had a fantastic game against Liverpool, I can't get my head around that.
I mean, presumably, Andrew, that can only, even in Eddie Howe's mind, can only have been a fitness thing, because there was he knew how well Tonali played.
That was something we spoke about last night and spoke about before the game. You know, all these boys are monitored up when they go training, and they know the levels that they're at and everything else. Their sugar levels and everything, you know, and you would just think the two boys that he left out today obviously their levels didn't match what they expected them to be, and they thought it was too. It's all about looking after players as well, you know. If they felt that they weren't up to it, and that there was a case that they could have picked up an injury if they had started from the off or not, I don't know. You know, I don't know the full ins and outs of it, but I thought Tonali was great the other night. I thought Gordon was great the other night. Isak was on fire. There was just so many good performances the other night, you know, but especially in that second half, we just looked so leggy. We looked like we were half a yard short. Now, is that down to all the exertions of the other night or not? I don't know.
Callum, thank you very much for your call this evening. Cheers, as well. The number to call 0800 234 6565. But I will be honest with you, if you give us a call now, it will be to book your place on Monday night's Total Sport. We have got Steve to come to. We'll do that in just a second, but a couple of text messages first. This one is from Gareth, who says, I think Eddie Howe could do with some experience on his coaching staff and some fresh ideas instead of what Gareth calls, I want to make that clear, what Gareth calls a shower of nodding yes men. or you could word it as a close-knit group of coaches that he's worked with for a very long time that he trusts.
Well, sometimes you need somebody around you who sees things that maybe you don't, and who's prepared to say that to you. and he was prepared to say, look, I think we need to change this, and we need to do this, and we need to do that.
Yeah, there's no reason to think that the likes of Jason Tindall automatically, like a parrot, agrees with Eddie Howe, though.
I don't know whether they do it or they don't.
Yeah.
You know, at the end of the day, he's the boss. It's his decision at the end of the day. You can put ideas forward to him, but he's the one who's got the final decision on it all.
Indeed, right. Let's bring in Steve then to round off the show. Good evening, Steve.
Oh, hi, hello. Thank you for taking my call.
No, pleasure to let you have it. What stood out for you this afternoon then, in a positive or a negative sense?
I'm really fed up now of fans, and John said it tonight quite a lot as well, about togetherness, desire, tenacity, graft, hard work. Football is about more than that. Those things are sort of a given. What we're lacking, we're lacking quality all over the pitch. We've got two quality players with Isaac and Gordon, and everybody else is just an also-ran. Bruno is literally, I've been saying for a long, long time, I don't know why Bruno is still in the side. We should have taken the money from Man City if they were offering 100 million, whatever it was, all them 12 months ago. I don't know why we signed Barnes when we had Gordon. I don't know why we signed Tonali if we had Bruno. Eddie's made some serious mistakes, in my opinion, in the transfer market, and I think it's shown now. He's lost it when it comes to the transfer market. I think of the last 8 players he signed, there's probably only 1 or 2 are guaranteed to be in the first 11. We didn't even need Livramento at the time. We had Trippier, to be honest, and Kraft was covered, but what we haven't got is anybody on the right. And today, you look at Mbembo today, and he would have made such a difference to us. I mean, I would sell Bruno, I would sell Barnes, get 120 million and go out and sign Mbembo, probably another striker, and someone like Angel Gomez on the right who can cover for Longstaff, because we're just, as the fans have been saying, Eddie hasn't got any plan B whatsoever. All he does is like-for-like substitutions. He places the legs, and today you could just see when Trippier came on, he was trying to do what we did against Liverpool when we scored the 3rd goal, just Trippier's sort of quality into the box and someone nick one. It's absolutely pathetic. It's just time to draw a line in the sand for me and literally move on.
Yeah, and Bueno was good today. His movement's good, and he plays on that right side, and he drifts in on that left foot. I mean, the goal that he got, he just stood haul up, came inside, and he's just stuck at top corner. You know, the boy's got quality about him. It's I'm not too sure Manchester City offered him 100 million for Bruno.
Well, 80, 60, 70, whatever it was, you know.
I'm not too sure they offered anything for him, to be quite honest, but that's for another day, I suppose. But look, I think the reason they signed Tonali was because I thought they thought they were getting rid of Bruno as well.
I agree with that, yeah.
And I think they brought Tonali in. They seen him as a ready-made replacement, and that sale didn't happen. But Bruno again today was treading water. You know, but I agree with you. I agree with you that in certain areas of the pitch we do lack quality. You know, everybody's. We work. The one thing that this group of lads do, they work their socks off. You know, they work hard for each other. But if you haven't got that quality to go with it, against sides, you're going to get found out. You know, and I said beforehand, we have got to be at it 100% all the time. We've got our energy levels and our closing down has got to be like it was on Wednesday night for us to. And it doesn't matter who we're playing. It's got to be like that all the time, because we're not good enough to play at 75, 80%.
But the problem with that is you end up with injuries. I mean, the year we got all the injuries, I think a lot of it was down to that. Players being forced. Gordon runs and runs and runs. I know it's high press, but you can see why players get injured. You can't play 2 times a week like that. You're going to burn yourself out, and I think that's what we did last season when all the injuries came along. We just need some quality on the right-hand side. I feel for Murphy and Almiron and Longstaff, because that's on the right. We've got very little quality out there. On the left, obviously, Isaac drifts into the left. You've got Gordon, you've got Barnes. So we have got Joe Litton prefers the left. So we've got plenty going on the left, but literally nothing at all on the right. I don't know what Eddie was playing at when he was signing all them left-sided players. It's biggest belief. Really does.
Yeah.
Steve,
it is very lopsided. Yeah,
it is. Steve, we're going to have to leave it there because it's 5:58. But thank you very much for your call. Really appreciate it. Getting back in touch with us again as well. John Anderson, 2 questions from Stanley and Stanley to finish before I let you go. First one: why didn't you shout at Isak, "Just put it in the net"?
because I thought he was going to.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And he also says, never mind the match, has Ando heard about the shortage of Guinness? Well, that's not going to put you in a good mood on the way home, is it?
Well, you know what it is, we spoke about this the other night and I wasn't happy.
No,
it could be a problem.
It could be a problem. Right, you can ponder a solution on your way home. Safe journey, John Anderson. Thank you very much. Cheers to John Anderson, who will be back on Total Sport on Monday. So will I, actually, as it happens. It'll be me with Marco and John Anderson. The number to call if you want to get in touch with us then is 0800 234 6565. But Newcastle United conceded 3 in midweek. They conceded 4 today. They lost 4-2 at Brentford. We'll see you next time.
Total Sport North East.
On the station with Newcastle and Sunderland commentary exclusively live.
BBC Radio Newcastle.